All right. Good evening. Hello. Bonsoir. How are you, Mr. Dimitri?
I'm doing great, thank you. And yourself?
I am doing well. Again, we are here, part two, with Mr. Dimitri, who blessed us on Monday. Hello, hello, everybody. From everywhere you connected to, could be YouTube, Facebook. We say hello, good evening to you. And please share this podcast and make sure that you're joining us again today. We are coming back with Mr. Dimitri, who was amazing on Monday, gave us a lot to think about and to really start really practicing because he gave us a lot of tools about how you can be able to start really be able to get mentored and specifically about his business. He does coaching. He's a mindset coach. So we talked about all of that. So today he's just gonna remind us just shortly, and then we're gonna continue this great conversation again. Thank you so much again, Mr. Dimitri.
My pleasure. Thank you again. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So again, like I said, today I'm really honored with the guest of Mr. Dimitri. He's a coach as well too. So sometimes I'm gonna, just going back and forth. He has many, many hats. Like I said, he's a businessman, he's a father, he's a husband. So I'm very glad to have somebody who been doing a lot of things in the community to be able to lift people's spirits, to be able to mentor them through the journey. So always gonna talk about also how he started, so I'm very glad today that he's back again with us today. He's a busy man, though. Trust me, he has a lot of stuff that he's doing. He's doing, but he really, takes some time to be able to talk again with us tonight. Thank you so much. We have a few words for him. So, Mr. Dimitri, what do you think about preparation?
Preparation. It's a necessary step when it comes to success. It's a prerequisite for success.
If you can just some volume on your hand, because I can barely hear you a little bit.
You can barely hear me? Okay, sorry.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's a prerequisite for success. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you clearly now. Yes.
Excellent. Okay. Preparation for me is simple. It's a prerequisite for success. If you want to go far, just make sure you actually take the time to prepare yourself.
Make time to prepare yourself. Um,
Mhm.
Commitment.
Commencement?
Mm-hmm. Commitment.
Uh, Commitment. Okay. Commitment. Commitment, I would definitely go by a definition of goal setting. In goal setting, when it comes to goal setting in the world of coaching, there's a difference between being interested in something and being committed. If you're interested in doing something, you're gonna say, you know what, yes, I'm trying to do things, but it's not really working out. You can give yourself permission to come up with excuses. But when you are committed to making something happen, no matter what, you're going to find a way to actually come up with the result or the outcome that you're looking for. So interest and commitment. Commitment is basically saying to oneself that yes, no matter what, I'm going to deliver what I promised to deliver.
That's good. That's a very good one. No matter what, I'm committed to deliver. I like that one. Yeah, I might be able to use that one time to time as well. um, Integrity.
Integrity is a difference between a man and a young man or young woman, or a woman. So basically, a person of maturity and a person who is basically still growing up. A person of integrity is basically a person who understands that, you know what, in life, there's one thing that's more important than anything else that you're doing, and that's your reputation. And you have to preserve your reputation at any cost. And that's where the word integrity comes. So you have to be able to actually preserve your reputation and place it far above anything else that can be tangible or intangible. Integrity comes first. Your reputation, your good name matters more than you can possibly imagine.
Absolutely. Sacrifice.
Sacrifice is the bread that a father or a mother eats on a daily basis. It's the bread that a person was actually committed to making things happen, eats on a daily basis. It's basically you actually going through things that are going to be completely hard, extremely difficult, but you're going to go through them just because you want to actually make something happen. Perfect example is that's what a parent that goes through on a daily basis. because you say to yourself, yes, I want to buy this, I want to buy this pair of shoes. But when I look at what the needs are, as far as my family is concerned, I'm going to make sure that I put this these needs of mine in the background, and make sure that I prioritize the needs of the people around me. And that's basically what a person of maturity as a parent has actually to go through on a daily basis. It's the bread that we eat on a daily basis as parents and people who have dreams.
Absolutely, yes. And lastly, empowerment.
Empowerment. It's when we remind ourselves that we are gods. Someone will say, but you know what, this is like religious. You can't say that. You can't say that. I'll simply say, but in the Bible it is written. Jesus Christ even asked the question. He says, don't you know that it is written in your book that you are gods, but yet you act like some dogs. You act like some people who have absolutely no sense. Empowerment is reminding ourselves that yes, at the end of the day, because we are spiritual being having a physical experience as opposed to physical people having a spiritual experience. So when you actually go back to that place where you remind yourself that yes, I'm a spiritual being, just having a physical experience, you're going to empower yourself to remind yourself what your true DNA is. And your DNA is a DNA of a God, because you are made in the image and the very likeness of the God that we serve. And that's when you empower yourself and you see that, yes, you know what, I can do all things. I am much more than Superman. I'm much more powerful than Spider-Man or any of the superpower people.
Absolutely. And I just want to really rely, especially to go back and really talk more about that, because sacrifice, and I would like us to talk more about that, your journey too, as when you first started, or even right now, you know, in this pandemic, those type of sacrifice that you have done in the past, I think are probably like double, quadruple, you know, those effort, because you understand that you have to be creative right now, and you have to sacrifice even more. So maybe you can give us, like, you know, one or two example of where, you know, as an entrepreneur, how do you, you know, those journey of sacrifices. You can talk more about that.
Yeah, sacrifice for me is basically my daily bread. As a matter of fact, when I'm sure you must relate to this. When it comes to meeting with people in different part of the world, they will call me, let's say tonight, and say, we have to actually meet on the phone at 2 o'clock in the morning. You have to make sure that you are awake and you are sharp, because you're going to be having a very important discussion on the phone with high level people. So what you have to do is basically make sure you stay awake between now until 1 o'clock and 1:30. If you have to drink coffee to keep yourself awake, you're gonna have to do that. Drink as much as caffeine as possible. But come 2 o'clock, you must be able to jump on the call and must sound just as if you were basically in the middle of the day. But in the meantime, oh my goodness. Please bear with me. Oh.
Yes. No, that's okay. That's fine. This is good. Thank you so much, Dr. Tanya, and everybody else who's jumping in. Thank you. Thank you for coming in. Because that's very important, that what you said. It's really, you have to really give that energy, the same information, but with such an energy that people, they would think that, oh, actually, but it's really very it's a big sacrifice that you do, especially when we do business overseas, global. And I'm glad that, you know, people are watching us, because that's really part of the journey. Like when you want to bring your business global, sometimes you have to stay up late, you know. So that's
yes.
one of the things that we're going to be sharing, actually, you know, in a workshop, you know, very soon, in a couple of weeks, it's coming. That's something that many people, they would love to bring the business global. So Coach Dimitri, what do you want to tell them, how they can start preparing themselves to really be able to bring the business global? You know, people who've been you know, living in the US or living in Europe, but they want to bring, you know, the extension of the business in Africa. What would you say for those people?
They have to be prepared to actually pay the price, and the price is a price of sacrifice. The first example I gave, an example is basically of phone calls. That's just one example. The second example is basically the example of physical meetings. A couple of years ago, we knew that someone very important was actually coming to America, and I live in Canada, so I was supposed to actually go meet the person. So my team knew that the person was coming, and everyone knew that the person was coming. But for some reason, we kept saying to ourselves, yeah, we know African people, they say they're coming, but eventually they're going to come, they'll call us and say that it's canceled, they're not coming anymore. And 5 days before the person comes, the person actually gives us the green light, say, you know what, I'm coming, I'll be in this particular city at this very particular hotel. I'll be there between these two for you for 2 or 3 days. So make sure you show up. So then I call my team all over the place in Europe, and all of them, they're saying, you know what, we can't make it. I mean, if we have to book a flight to come to you, it's not going to work unless we rent a private jet, but that's not going to happen because a private jet is just a one person. It's not going to work. So the only one person who can go there is you, Dimitri. But I said, but I have to book something. I have to book a flight. And by the time I realized I have to book a flight, I started looking around. The prices are just completely ridiculous. I said, I'm not spending this kind of money on a flight. Just a flight that would normally cost me $500 and I spend $2,000. I'm not doing that. That's a waste of my. So I said, I'm not doing that. So back and forth. Last minute, then we have to make a decision. I say, you know what? The only thing left on the table is for me to drive from where I am to go see that person. And basically, I jump in the car at 2 o'clock in the morning. I get there around noon. I meet the person at 2 o'clock. 3 o'clock, I go back to the hotel, sleep for a couple of hours. And 5 o'clock, I'm back on the road driving back to Toronto because the following day I had a meeting. That's the kind of commitment, that's the kind of sacrifice that we have to make. So if we say we're coming, you have to show up. And when you say you're going to show up, no matter what, you have to find a way to make things happen. Because at the end of the day, we don't live from excuses. We only live from results. So if you don't deliver the result, you're not going to make it.
That's wow. That's a very great example, Coach Dimitri, because that actually reminds me when I used to, live in North Dakota. And once I've really started really full time, my entrepreneurship journey too, I used to really, because I was still, 9 to 5, so that was really something that I used to do. And I finished, at 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, all the reports you have to write and everything. And guess what? The whole night I am on the phone, I am answering stuff. So you are definitely the HR person, you are the admin, you are the tech, like every single thing in your business you have to do. So I remember sometimes like just really dozing off for 2 hours, 3 hours, and you need to have the same energy in the morning because you're leading another team to our work. I was like, oh my God. So to me, sometimes people asking me, Janine, like how do you get that energy? I was like, sometimes I don't even know, but I just do it. Somebody needs to do it. Things need to get done. And that's why, to me, really leadership, it's really about showing up for your team, showing up for what has to be done. You need to take care of the stuff. So that really gave me a very great example for you. And like when you just, because I remember those few trips I had to do the same thing. I had to go and meet people and where you look around, but there's nobody else going to do it. You have to do it, So again, sacrifice is a very, very huge one. So again, it's really about mindset. And then thank you so much for pointing it because it's really about the mindset. And when you switch your mindset, you can be able to do it. We're not saying it's easy, but it's doable because you need to do it. And those are the really, the basic foundation for any business.
Absolutely. And going back to the question you asked me earlier at the beginning of this show, the difference between, commitment for me is basic difference between commitment and interest is when you say you're committed to actually delivering result, you have to find a way to deliver no matter what. Basically, excuse is not part of your vocabulary. No matter what, you have to find a way to deliver. The other person may actually the other person may actually drop the ball as many times as they want, but for yourself, as far as you're concerned, just for your own integrity, just for your own image, your own self-image, no matter what, when you call to actually do something, you have to deliver, and no excuses.
Guys, did you hear what Coach Dimitri just dropped right now? There's no the word vocabulary that I can't or no excuses, guys. So you have to find how or where or what you have to make it happen. I don't know how, but you need to make, and that's really a mindset because I remember sometimes too. We have to do an event or we have to do something at last minute. We're supposed to be 4 or 5, and we just have 2. But 3 people, I say, oh, you know what? That's okay. And I think it became really a habit to me. Like even people say, I don't know how Janine gonna take that. But guess what? We're gonna talk later. I'm just focusing, laser focused. Like I just need to get done. And then when I finish, it's like, yes. And then people, to me, they were shocked, but say, there's no time to be shocked. Just keep going. We have to get done. We have to do this. So it was really, to me, it was a mindset that I had to say, no matter what, people are there or not,
Yes.
you have to do it. You have to make it happen. So if I have to
Absolutely.
learn how to do it, I have to ask. I mean, you have to go on the computer and really research yourself. Whatever you have to do, you have to make it happen. Yeah, so to me,
Abs-
I had to learn that early on in my, in my business journey. I said, you have to make it happen no matter what. So I'm glad that you sharing that with us tonight, because that's really one of the reasons to that, because if you don't set up your mind like that, you'll be surprised or shocked all the time, because people, they were going to have excuses.
mhm, mhm.
And I
And
know
this is all.
sometimes also, life happens, but yeah, you
Mhm,
have to really set up your mind, already like that.
mhm. Yeah, life happens for others, but life doesn't happen for us. I mean, as people of commitment, yeah, we don't bring it up. You see, my life could be falling apart, but as soon as you call me, I have to actually just jump on my feet and actually make things happen. I have to compartmentalize what's falling apart. Yeah, that's what's falling apart. But now Dimitri, the coach or the business person, has to actually figure out how to deliver the solutions, and no excuse as far as what could not be working in the back of the picture that you're seeing.
Absolutely. So, Coach Dimitri, can you actually just give us an example where your client or somebody that you've been working with, or somebody you've been mentoring, they didn't show up at the meeting? What do you do? Like, do you call them? Do you wait 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then you send them an email, a text? Like, how do you handle that when people, they say they committed to the process, but sometimes they don't show up and after they text you, or they don't. They just wait for the next time when, you guys usually meet. How do you handle that?
I mean, then you have to clarify the question for me. Is it for business or is it as a
For a
coach?
client, yeah, for a
Because for
business,
investment,
for your
it's
client, yeah, for your clients. Hmm.
of for my clients. It depends.
Yes.
If the person is actually if it's a person who is actually coming to me with a project, then I will simply
Hmm.
let them know that yes, from the very beginning, we have to actually establish some house rule that, what, as far as we are concerned, everything must be actually set in writing. If you don't deliver X, Y, Z, I'm not going to do anything. So if we agree on a meeting and you don't show up, first time I'm going to just let it go, but I'm going to let you know. But the second time, it's going to be just a reason for me, or cause, I'm not going to say dismissal, but from ground for me to simply say, you know what, this is not going to work. I don't want to waste my time. Let's just
Yeah.
stop there. And I don't mind losing a connection, because I know that if I'm actually connected to the wrong people or to the wrong client, I'm actually causing my brain to go down. But when I'm actually
Mm.
connected to the right client, my reputation is also gonna, because everything in this world goes by reputation and by network. If the people always ask the question, who is he working with? Or what the people are coming to him? And based on the
Yes.
type of people that you allow for you to actually be surrounded with, people already know where you are. But when you're surrounded by people at a high caliber, people also give you more respect. So if someone who's a joker is coming to you, trying to play a game, just try to give them maybe just two strikes. First strike, it's okay. Let them know it wasn't acceptable. The second strike, let them know what, we're not going to actually work together anymore. Let's just stop here.
Absolutely. Because again, just like you said, it's really your reputation online. You make sure that,
Yes.
guys, I'm glad that you are joining us today, because Coach Dimitri is giving us a very, very good nuggets about that. It's okay, things happen, but this is really a reputation online. Many of you guys, that's why you are here today listening to us, because you just started your journey, or you are on your way. You really want to expand your vision, your business. And this is the rules, this is the basic foundation that you have to build upon: integrity, commitment, sacrifice, empowerment. Those are the things that you need to make sure that your integrity is really there, and showing up. That's another thing. Again, this is life happens sometimes, but just like what I really like what Coach Dimitri just said, no matter what was happening in your personal life, you need to show up, and show up strong, like really with energy, and making sure that your focus is on your client. It's really on the person that you also committed to work with. So no matter what happened,
And,
I remember a friend of
and
mine, which I was very, very blessed to see that.
mhm,
A friend of mine, I'm just going to give you a quick example. His mom just passed away 2 days ago. I was
mm,
expecting him not to show up on the meeting, because we're supposed to meet, with the company, in Atlanta. We're supposed to meet there and having a meeting.
mm,
I was very shocked my friend show up. And I mean, to me, that even really boosts my energy. Like I was like, oh my God. And he was okay
Respect.
laughing. You know, when we finished, I look at him and say, you know, I really respect you. He said, Janine, we have to show up. And that's what he said. You always told me that from the beginning, Janine. You show up every day. You tired. I know you are tired, but you always show up for me. Why not? So to me, I really gain more respect for that brother. I was like, wow. But many people, you don't see them doing that. Yeah, you're about to comment something, Coach Dimitri.
Yes, as a matter of fact, just very quickly, thank you very much again for the example you gave of the brother in Atlanta. And as far
Mm-hmm.
as far as clients and also teams are concerned, one key principle that I always actually go by, and this has been very dear to me for the past 15 or 20 years, and this is the principle: availability does not mean eligibility. I'm gonna just say very clearly. Just because you are available, just because so and so is available to actually work with me, does not mean this person is eligible to work with me. Because a lot of people will come to say, yeah, because I know you're doing this, you're doing project funding, you have access to a network of people who can actually fund projects. So I have a XYZ project to actually put on the table for you, and they are very, very important. Please look at them. But just because this person is available, and just because this person seems to have access to the right project, quote unquote, does not mean to be actually working in this person, because this person could also be, I would call it a time bomb, because the minute you actually bring it to your network, it's going to become a crazy story after crazy story that can also tarnish your own reputation. And just because the
Yes.
person is available does not mean the person should be actually brought on board. We're going to work together. Now that first strike, you make a mistake, I let it go. But the second strike, you know what, that's it. I'm just going to ghost you. You're not going to have access to my phone call, my phone, my phone anymore. Email, I'm not going to respond to it, because you know what? I need to preserve my reputation, and I need to preserve also my mindset as far as clarity and focus is concerned.
Absolutely. Clarity, clarity, clarity. God, these are very good nuggets that, Coach Dimitri is dropping here tonight. That's definitely amazing. How do you deal? Again, many people have asked me this and I've answered, but I'll be curious to hear more about what you have to say about this, Coach Dimitri. In business, do you have to show feelings or not in business? Do you have to be vulnerable or you don't have to be vulnerable?
uh, when I first started in the business, I was a very emotional person. I mean, something will not go right, I'll be just getting upset on the phone and, this is unacceptable. You have to go on and lash at people, let people know that, yes, my feeling will actually hurt, this and that. But I was privileged enough to work with people who've been working in this business for quite a long time. And I always remember the answer that one of the senior people used to actually give me: Dimitri, you have to speak, but when you speak to these business people, no passion. They cannot have access to your passion. They cannot have access to your feelings, because they need to have access to your feeling, and they know exactly what makes you tick. And from
Yeah.
any different angle, they will use that against you. You have to actually find a way to always show up, and show up without showing your passion or showing your feeling. And perfect example as well, as far as our function is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
The other day, a few weeks ago, I was in my house and just to do minding my own business. And my wife was with one of my daughters actually talking, and my daughter was telling my wife that, you know what, this is not working. I'm having this issue. And my wife says to my daughter, says, you know what, I understand you may be going through something, but let me just show you something. And she called me, said, Dimitri. I said, yes. How's everything? And then so she asked my daughter, please ask your daddy, how's everything? And I said, everything is great. And my wife started laughing. He says, you see, that's the answer he gave you. But I am the wife. I know exactly what he's going through right now, and everything is not great. But the answer you're going
Yeah.
to get from me will always be the type of answer, because you know what? He has to preserve a certain image that you have of him.
Yes.
Everything else, you don't have access to that, because you know what? You can't show your vulnerability to certain people, because once you do that, you're going to destroy the image that they have of you, and they want to know that, yes, daddy is always strong. You may break down, but you can break down when they're not around. Break down. You have to
Exactly.
preserve
Yep.
that sense of strength, because to them you are
Yes.
you are the tower of strength. When they come to you, you
Mm-hmm.
can resolve anything. You can destroy that just because I'm going through some financial challenges. No, you have to find a way just to maintain that sense of strength as far as you are concerned. So same thing when it comes to business. My feelings are not to be shown to people I'm working with. My feelings are for my
Mm-hmm.
wife. my feeling are for myself, but they're not for the people I actually work with. I mean, you can actually hurt me as much as you want, but you will not actually see me actually crying or complaining about it, because I was always keep it professional, because that's why we're working as professionals, not as friends, not as lovers. We're just working as friends and for business, and that's it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, God, this is, that's exactly what I usually tell people. Say, don't think this wrong. Yes, you have to be, you have to show sympathy, you have to show, the compassion and everything, but you need to keep you have to stay objective. You have to really stay objective in everything that you do. And particularly, this is just not personal. This is business, so don't think, and that's what, one of the things that when we do, some workshop about team building, I usually tell, in the workshop, I say, guys, this is nothing personal, but this is business. So make sure, even when you're sharing, even though you have known those people for so long, you are so comfortable around them, make sure you stay objective. Don't give your personal opinion sometimes, because that's not really what they're looking for. They're looking for, that leader, the leadership that they're looking for, to be able to respond, because one day they're going to be in your shoes, or they're going to be in that position. How are they going to lead? Not through the emotion. So I'm glad that you mentioned, because that's what exactly I usually tell people, that make sure you do that.
Absolutely. And just if I can just say something, and this is where basically people need to understand the difference between integrity and leadership. Integrity is one thing. Yes, somebody say, yes, you have to be a man of integrity. If you're not feeling well, you have to tell people, yes, I'm not feeling well, and expose your feelings to everyone. No, because the minute you as a leader, you expose the fact that, yes, I'm scared to do this, you're going to break something in them. They're going to lose respect for you. You may be scared, but when it comes to you being scared, you have to actually find a way to actually manage that on your own. But if you have to actually jump, you're going to jump scared. You say, I'm scared, but I'll jump. But the people behind you cannot see you, because if they see that you are scared, they say, you know what, this is not leader. I mean, why is he in front? The person should be in the same level beyond us, because if he's scared just as we are scared, so what's the point of calling so-and-so leader?
That's true. That is very true. Wow. And again, guys, we are really receiving some mentorship here right now, because these are really the things that we talked about in the webinars and the training that we usually do. And again, you have to really stay objective no matter what. And that's what I learned, and through another mentor of mine, but he's not here any longer. He passed away. He was saying to Janine, leadership, it's not really about title. It's not really about PhD or whatever, all those labels. It's really about showing up, showing up for your people, showing up for your team, showing up for the people that, you've been showing up no matter what. To say, especially, many of us who come in this country, sometimes when you have the accent and everything, people think that, you definitely don't know what you're doing. He said, especially for you, Jenny, he was always admired. I never knew why he always, encouraged me. I said, okay. And he was almost the only one. The rest of them, they just, and to me, I was just laser focused. I was focusing on what I was doing. And one day he finally said, you know why I always encourage you? He said, because I see leadership in you. And to me, the way you show up for people, he said, that's why, because he always asking me about Africa. He was asking me about how I grew up, who inspired me. So I always share with him about my grandfather. That's really how he was really inspiring me about to learn more about history. And he used to give me the journal, to read. That's how now I developed, the passion to read. I have so many books. Even my mom sometimes she jokes, she said, Janine, you have more books than clothes. Do you know that? To me, that was something that I really developed through my grandfather. But that just to go back to the story, that mentor said, do you know why? Because I see the leadership, and no matter what, you always show up. I never understood that. He said, sometimes I'm even tired, but just think about, I know Janine gonna show up. And when I come, you're already there. I was like, yeah, that's something. I don't know how I learned that, but I just do it to support people, And that's something that he said, leadership, it's about showing up no matter what. You're going through something, but when you just show up, people also show up, And I'm sure you can be able to agree with me, Coach Dimitri.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, here's the funny thing. You and I, we are talking right now. I don't know what you're going through. You don't know what I'm going through right now. I mean, my house could be on fire. I mean, my situation could be as messy as possible. But you asked me to actually be part of in this interview. I gave you my word. I said I was going to be present. And just because I gave you my word, I was going to find a way to actually honor it. And this is why I'm here. But everything else could be falling apart behind me. everything else could be falling apart. But that's not your problem because I gave my word, so I have to show up. And this is why I'm here.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you so much. Oh my goodness, we almost at the end of our show, but definitely now can we talk just very briefly about that? How do you develop your business profile? You know, because many of them they always come to us. You know, I'm sure if you took Coach Dimitri about really about how they can get funding. They think they're prepared. They think they're ready. They think, but they actually not ready yet until we go through, you know, like the steps. So just in general, to summarize, I know, you know, we're going to have you know, more opportunity to develop that in the workshop that we're going to do, but definitely how, you know, somebody can come and start really building up the business profile. Can you talk more about that?
Business profile, I would say just a couple of things. First of all, I say you have to make sure you take the time to think on paper.
Yes.
Yes, take the time to think on paper. This is just me, right? I'm not trying to actually, this is not scripted.
Yes.
This is me. I have paper all over the place. As I'm talking to you, ideas come to me, and as they come to me, I'm writing down.
Right.
As a leader or as a business person, you have to really take the time to sit down and think on paper. This business idea that you have to think, take the time to think on paper. So what is it that I'm trying to achieve? You have to have a vision that is clear, because once the vision is clear, the action steps will be actually easier. And once you actually go to the action step, you're going to come to a place where there's going to be clarity and focus. When you have clarity and focus, then you can come to people like Janine, like Coach Janine, or like myself. You come and say, you know what, Coach Dimitri, I have this idea in my mind and I don't know if I'm ready. But could you please let me know what the next step I can actually take as far as the next step is concerned? And then I can tell you, you know what, the idea sounds wonderful. At this point, then what you need to consider is trying to actually come up with a budget so you can go to the right people that can help with the basic document that most people actually need that have access to serious money is a feasibility study. Without the feasibility studies, no one will take it. No one will take it seriously. No one will take you, because sometimes I get people come to me, government say, you know what, yeah, we have this list of projects we are working on, 200 pages, list of projects. So where are the feasibility studies? No. You look at the list of projects and let us know which one you guys are interested in, and we're gonna go from there. I said, no, we need to have a feasibility studies. And next thing you know, they're getting upset. I said, no. Here's my perfect example. I was born and raised in a country called, that used to be known as Zaire, now known as Democratic Republic of the Congo. I was born and raised in a particular part of the city that used to be called Kinshasa, but more specifically Ngaliema. Ngaliema is a part of the city that was actually built in land that was not conducive to habitat for mankind. But people decided to actually build without any feasibility studies. They built, and eventually what happened is, years later, most houses just got wiped away by water, by wind, because there was no feasibility study that had been conducted to actually see if it was feasible to actually start building in a part of the city. And years later, people are still trying to do things according to the same old pattern, which is basically, I have an idea, but I don't have feasibility studies. Just because I have an idea, you have to find a way to actually fund my idea. And I say, no, things don't work like that where I work right now. You have to take the time to write it down on paper, and from that point, we're going to see if it's viable. And the next thing you know, you have to go to feasibility studies, not just your feasibility study done by local people, who just basically go on Google and collect data right, left, center, put them together. It's the truth. You have to go to a house that is reputable, that has international cachet, that has to come to your country, look at what you have, and tell us on paper whether or not the idea is going to work. And once we have that, then we have something. But here's a funny thing. Even with that, it doesn't guarantee we're going to fund your project. But it's just the first step that you have to take in order for people to actually sit down with you.
That's right. Yeah, it doesn't guarantee. I mean, that's a very great point. Hello, everybody. Oh, my goodness. Thank you, Dr. Elo. Thank you, Dr. Tammy. Thank you, Mr. Joel, for joining us. Awesome. So definitely, that's a very good point, because people think that, you know, when they come, they contact you. Oh, Janine, you know, I have this thing. Can you please look at it? And we have the connect. I said, yes, I know that you're ready. You sound ready, but we need to have a time. we can go. And really, the good thing about me, I ask a question. I always ask the right question because I want to make sure that before opening up the door, before start going, going and looking. So because that they call me, I'm the connector. I always connect people, but at the same time, I want to make sure everything we have, we're ready for that to be able to just go. So we don't have, no issue or without missing anything. So when I'm bringing in an investor, I don't want to miss a question that I didn't ask it before, because that's a very bad, if you present everything and then the investor as like, oh no. So I don't want it because that happened before. Um, I thought like we had everything and that was I think I don't know when was that, but I think I remembered I was on a phone call where I connected to the clients myself and the investor. And that was another question I did ask. Did you bring yeah, I brought everything. When we were talking, the client did not bring that. But again, thank God, I already have a relationship with the investor. He said that's okay. So Janine can be able to send that to me. I said, yes, sir, I can. So, but after we hang up with them, I said, I told you to bring everything. So again, it's a very, very important to have all your papers, together. And even though you don't know how to, just come to us, guys. We're gonna be able to walk you through because we don't want them to have an excuse, if the investors to have an excuse not to, get you funds, because we want every single step you follow the steps, making sure. So that's why I'm so excited that we can be able to show you guys in a workshop how you can be able to build your business profile, especially when you're bringing your business outside of US, and also you're expanding, because if you think that you are ready to expand, Coach Janine and Coach Dimitri will really walk you through and make sure that you're ready. And maybe you're not right now, but you will. But we will definitely gonna give you a game plan, so you can be able, to say that I can be able to start taking steps, so I can be able to get ready. Because, like I said, Monday when we were talking, me and Coach Dimitri, it's not every investor that we say yes to, because we're very particular, making sure that our integrity, we work with integrity, but also making sure that the right people, we align them with the right investor, because it's really about, bringing people together, but also making sure that we are making sure that this is really because this is a legacy for us. It's not just because we're getting paid or, as a consultant, but it's really why we're doing this. We're changing life. We're bringing, purpose into people's life. Coach Dimitri, do you want to say something about that?
Yeah, can I tell you something funny? Yeah, because I do everything also through the lenses of history.
Yes.
It is a funny thing. It is a funny thing. In 1875, 1876, when King Leopold II in Belgium decided to approach Stanley, the British guy who had actually come back from Central Africa, trying to actually map up the part of Central Africa. He went back to England and he was trying to actually secure funding, and they turned him down. Leopold II paid him £1,000 on a yearly basis, and in return, he had to actually just work for him. So basically, he became the middleman between King Leopold and Africa. So to some extent, you and I, what we do is we are the modern day Stanley. We are basically here to actually be the liaison between investors and Africa. So with that in mind, we can't afford to make the same mistake as Stanley. We have to only bring people of integrity, people who have great vision and a good vision for our brothers and sisters back home. If we bring the people like Stanley brought back to Africa back in 1875, we're going to actually replicate the same mistake, and that's going to be just as detrimental to Africa as it has been over the past few years.
That's my goodness. That's powerful. That's a very good example, guys. Because again, and that's why I was sharing with Coach Dimitri on Monday. The reason why I started this show, especially to be able to showing people how to bring your business in Africa the right way. Because many people have said, "What, Janine? I've been there, I've traveled, but it's just not working. I'm going in circle, in a circle." I was like, "Do you know why? You don't have the right partner. That's it. You don't have the right part, you don't have the right team." And I said, to me, when you come to me, first of all, I have an assessment that we go through that, and I make sure everything is lined up into order, because to me, that's really something I take very serious about, helping and mentoring you, coaching you, how you can bring your business global. It's really about your branding, but really, it's really, I'm very picky with who I'm working with, or even say partnership, because this is a take serious. I will do this for the rest of my life. This is a calling for me. It's not just because I'm gonna get no. It's really about why I'm doing this. I'm changing people's life, and that's the same thing for Coach Dimitri, because he's doing that because, again, it's really about integrity. It's really about why we care also so much about Africa, and we would like everybody to see what we see, in everything that we're doing, especially in our countries. And I really wanted to change the narrative, or what many investors have told me about Africa. I was like, no, corruption is everywhere. But they keep saying, Janine, your country, oh my God. I was like, I will prove, I didn't say that to them, but it was a personal commitment to myself. I said, we need to change that. Even though there's two people who are loyal, I think I'll be one of them, because bringing people, in Africa, they were saying that, no, we have been there 6 times, we have been there 10 times. I was like, I think by really be able to partner with me, you guys can be able to see that there are people who can be able to start a project and finish. And today, I am very glad that person really listened to me. And now we start really, he has now hope that he can be able to go back to Congo and invest again in Congo, because he said, I came, I met with ministers and different, they really screwed me like 6 times or 7. I was just listening to him. I said, I'm sorry that you went through that, but you just had the wrong partner, period. I did not expand much. I did not say really much, but I just say, we just have to get to know, each other, and really work, making sure that you have all the things together. And, just give yourself time. You'll see that there's some people in Congo who are very loyal, who can be able to start a project and finish. And after that, you can see the guy, we say, wow. And then he keep listening to what I was doing and inviting people. He said, it's because of, people like you, Janine, that I can, again, be able to believe that I can be able to see, my investment really return, because he said, I really lost hope. But I guess that, Janine, you definitely proved me wrong. I said, well, it's not really competition. I know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
I'm so glad, Coach Dimitri, this is what we really connect, but I also to really make sure that people, they really understand that when you have the right team and the right people, we're not saying it's not easy, it's not easy. We're not saying that, but I make sure having the right people who have the tools and the strategy, it makes really much easier. And it makes sense. That's the right thing to do. Yeah. So I know I don't want to.
This is precisely why we also charge high premiums, because you know what? Because we understand that our integrity is not something to be taken for granted. We don't work for money, but money is also very important. I'm not just going to put my skills and open my network to just anyone who comes to me with a project.
That's right.
Unless, and I know that you're going to actually also put something on the table to let me know how serious and committed you are to the process.
That is true. That is very, guys, that's something that, you have to really realize, that when you say you are serious, that means in your commitment, financial contribution, you have to be also present. Like whenever we work with you, you have to invest. You're not investing in us, you're investing on yourself. So again, that's a return investment.
Yes.
So awesome. Thank you so much again, Coach Dimitri, to bless us again today. It was amazing, like always. And guys, really stay tuned. Thank you, Dr. Tammy. Really stay tuned. And my friend Shanae Gandhi, she's here too again. I'm so glad that you're here again. This is what we are committed to do. We're gonna show up. We're gonna continue to show up again. So thank you again, everybody who came to Facebook and YouTube. Thank you, Dr. Elo. Like always, you always come, and Dr. Tammy. And we will see you guys in very soon with Coach Dimitri. We are preparing some stuff. So stay tuned, guys, because he's definitely our guest, but he's definitely somebody, he's part of the team that we're going to be working with him very, very closely, because he's going to continue to give us many, many, many tools. Thank you again, Coach Dimitri.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Good night.
Good night.